What's up, Radio World? Welcome back to another installment of the Sport Bros on Tap podcast featuring real life brothers Matt and Cody Rubel. This is one of your hosts, Matt, and I'm sitting in with my brother Cody.
How's it going, everybody? I think we're about at a full week's worth now of shelter in place, so we're starting to lose our minds, and we've already lost our sports. So we're gonna, I believe, change it up a little bit today for y'all and try to give some entertainment of what you can at least find on TV, since there's absolutely no sports on TV at this point, unless you're watching some of those like replay games, some of those instant classics and
Yeah,
stuff like
yeah.
that, which I do enjoy. Some of the ones that you haven't seen in a long time, but unfortunately for us, that North Carolina Villanova game has
I
been
caught
like
that one.
everyone's freaking
I
like
caught that one.
number one on top of the list right now of like March Madness games, at least of like this century, when Villanova hit the game winning shot on UNC, and so that one hurts my heart a little bit. But so I'm done talking about that, and so we'll move on. What do you got for
I'm,
us?
I'm not because in preparation for March Madness, I added a video to the bottom of our website just so people have a video they could click on, and it was from YouTube, and it was just March Madness, like Cinderella story type things. And so I uploaded the video. I watched the whole thing. I saw that Carolina lost on that shot, obviously, but then it didn't show it like it was going to be the thumbnail image. And so when I uploaded it, of course, the thumbnail image is the Villanova team jumping up and down after they buried that three on Carolina. And I'm like, man, you got to be kidding me. Like, what are the odds that that's the spot they choose for the thumbnail of that video? It was like 10 minutes in. I was like, come on, man, that's rough.
That was literally the only time. I'm not afraid to admit this. The only time after like a sporting event or a game I've cried. I cried
Yeah.
after that game.
It was tough, man. I drove all the way from LA to watch it with you in the Bay Area, man, and oh, it was a tough drive back. It was exciting driving down, but it was not fun driving back to LA after that.
And then the crazy thing about sports is they make it back the next year and win it. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
then you're on top of the mountain. It's just
Well,
that's why sports are beautiful, man.
what was crazier in that game is that you'd be talking about one of the most incredible shots that Marcus Page ever hit with that funky little three-pointer that he hit to tie the game. I mean, when you're talking about that, I mean, that could have been the defining moment. Instead, it's the Villanova coming down and hitting the three, because that three that Page hit was insane. I remember he cocked his legs back, his arm double clutched, put it up, and buried it.
Had no business going in at all, but but I give him credit. I mean, for how goofy it was and how he had to contort his body and everything, he got like an actual clean stroke off of it.
Oh
You know what
yeah,
I mean?
yeah,
It's almost like that, like Steph Curry, Klay Thompson syndrome, where I always say, they're like two of the best I've ever seen. If it doesn't really matter what their body's doing or where they catch the ball, there's so many guys that need the ball just right in a certain shot pocket and other things like that, or off the one dribble bounce, or I
right.
need, I prefer bounce pass, chest pass, all that. Like those sort of dudes literally can catch it wherever, and it doesn't matter where the ball is. They almost don't even have to shoot it from the same, space, but they release it from the same
Right.
spot every single time. Their body's always, you know what I mean? I'm like, damn, like it's.
Yeah.
I wish I could still
I know.
even
I
shoot
I
half as
always
good
talk
as they
about how
could, but
how how Clay does that, man. He goes up from like the weirdest angles and stuff, but no matter what, that ball always seems to be in the same spot when it comes out of his hand. It's pretty cool. But yeah, so like Cody was talking about with no sports, we were trying to do something a little different for all of our quarantine people listening out there, that some ideas on what you can be watching right now. So with no sports, we thought, what's the next best thing? How about some sports movies? So, everybody I know anyway is watching all the streaming services, Netflix, Hulu, all the HBOs, whatever they can watch possibly, they're watching. So and so we came up with this idea that we're gonna have basically a quarantine
yeah,
show. Go ahead.
take a break from the Tiger King, everybody, and
I know.
go ahead and watch some of these sport films.
I,
break
I
break it
started
break
I
up the
started
series a little
that.
bit. I watched the whole thing. I literally watched the whole
Did
thing in
you?
one
I
day.
haven't. Yeah,
It's,
I've
it,
seen two of them, so don't
it,
spoil it for me. I'm
little
about to
Joe,
watch it.
we're gonna get a little Joe Exotic on this show, baby.
Hey man, a little something something. But yeah, so we're trying to get the juices flowing on some movies this week. So, I scoured the databases as well as I could to find as many sport movies that we thought people might be interested in. And so we broke them down into a few categories, and that's what we're gonna do first. Is we're gonna go over some categories, what might interest you, and then at the end, I think we both put together just a top five list. Unfortunately, those ones aren't necessarily streaming anywhere right now, but they're worth a watch if you can get your hands on them or willing to pay like Prime $2.99, whatever it is, to rent the movie. So we'll just jump right in though, and we'll talk about our first category of movies, which I thought it was a good idea to start with the classics. So as far as streaming service, what makes a classic? It just basically has to be 20 years old to me. I don't know, classic, but as long as it was made around the 80s, 80s or 90s even, but I think all of ours are 80 before. I didn't check dates, but as long as it was, 80s or before, I'm considering it a classic. And we have a list with three of them on there. So I'm going to shoot three of them at you. You tell me which one is the best classic movie. That sound good?
Yeah, sounds good to me. Fire away.
You know what? I'm looking at my list. I got one more, so I'm gonna actually shoot four at you. Okay, so
Okay.
first one I'm gonna shoot at you is the Natural, classic baseball movie. Anyone that has seen it, basically about a player who's relatively unknown, had a kind of a past that in the end gets revealed to be kind of odd. But in the movie, it's basically a guy who makes his own bat and can hit the ball. Uh,
What is it? Wonder Boy? What was it?
yeah, I think that's the name of the
I feel
bat,
like it was
right?
Wonder. I feel like it was Wonder Boy. Yeah, he makes his own bat. It's almost one of those career minor leaguer type guys, like home run
Yeah.
champion. You know what I mean? Who rakes? Go ahead. I know you're gonna give
Yeah.
a little bit
No,
more.
no, yeah. I'm gonna give you some more. Okay, so then you have uh so you have the other classic that is a basketball movie, okay, and that is Hoosiers. People go on and on about this. Gene Hackman, basketball coach, goes to a small yeah.
Don't get caught watching the paint dry, folks. All right.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, exactly. So that is a basketball movie that you know, Jimmy Chitwood don't miss. Gene Hackman goes into high school.
Gene Hackman's a G. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
he's great in it.
As far as actor wise, you can't really go wrong with that.
Yeah, and I knew I should have looked this up because I had his name and now I'm blanking on it. But
The
the
out
villain from
the
Speed, you remember Keanu Reeves in Speed, the bad guy? He's the dad, the drunk dad in
Oh
Hoosiers. But
yeah, I was gonna say, are you talking about the drunk dad? He's a good actor
yeah,
too. We should have looked
oh
up it.
yeah,
Yeah.
I had his name before the show. That's why I was like, oh, I don't need it. I know his name, and then of course, as soon as it comes on, I'm blanking. Okay, then so the other one is another baseball movie, Bull Durham, where he's again Dennis
Dennis
Hopper.
Hopper.
Yeah, there it is. I knew Dennis Hopper. I knew you'd get it. Okay, so Dennis Hopper, and that's Hoosiers. But now we're moving on to Bull Durham, which is again a baseball movie about minors and a groupie that kind of gets around with a few of the young stars. But overall, it's kind of just a baseball movie. So
Don't shake me off, meat.
exactly.
That's a I don't know. That movie's a classic to me. Like
Oh
that.
yeah.
I love Bull Durham.
So it's Kevin Costner, right? And
Yep.
what's his name? Tim. Oh man, I should have his name. He's the guy from Shawshank Redemption. He's the new. He's meat, and and yeah. So that's a good one. The bar fights are hilarious. It's a overall a classic, a good one for sure.
Tim Robbins.
Tim Robbins. There you go. I knew it was Tim. And the last one is this movie. The last one actually comes up as overall movies. If you Google it right now, I guarantee it'll be on a lot of people's top five of all time movies. I don't think it aged as well, in my opinion. But that is the classic Martin Scorsese film, Raging Bull, starring Robert De Niro, Joe Pesci. I've seen it. I enjoy the movie. It's great. The camera techniques are awesome. It's like that kind of movie. At the same time, like I said, I don't know if it aged that well because I did watch it and I was like, at times I was like, man, this looks a little dated. I mean, it's an old movie for sure, but it just, I don't know how well it aged. Overall, though, it will end up on a lot of people's all-time lists, let alone sports lists. But of those four movies, which ones are you most excited about?
So for me, I guess I was gonna say my initial reaction, Bull Durham for me is always gonna be kind of my go to
Yeah,
as far as that list. I just I like the comedy aspect of it. You know what I mean? The
yeah,
him wearing the girls' panties out on, you know what I mean, out on the mound, no sex rule. I don't know. There's just little things. Like I said, the Kevin Costner is his catcher. He's literally sitting there telling the batters is the pitches
The
that are
pitches,
coming. You know,
right? Yeah,
don't shake me off meat, like I said before. Yeah, just overall, I enjoy the fact that it is like it's honestly a real, actual, almost, kind of has some realistic stuff in it in a way. You know what I mean? It's
well, the whole
as far as minor
superstitions
league
of players
baseball,
and stuff
yeah.
like that too, and
But
then yeah, like you said, the minor league aspect.
but so that allows it to bring like a huge comedy aspect to me, and that's always what
Yeah,
makes a lot of films enjoyable for me. I'm never
true.
too serious about my sports movies, even though there are some movies that are pretty really, I shouldn't say pretty well done, really well done when they're serious.
Yeah,
I think Hoosiers, I guess, probably would land next on my list for that. I always, something about an underdog story, those small town
absolutely.
sort of kids sort of thing. Like I said, Gene Hackman is the head coach in it, and I just think he's a great actor in general overall. So you already are off to a good foot there. Um, and I think that would be definitely my top two. And I don't know, Hoosiers. Like I said, basketball was always my favorite sport growing up, and so I actually watched like half of Hoosiers the other night while I was trying to go to sleep, just because it was up on. I think it was up on my Netflix. So yeah, what about you? I don't know what you would go with. I didn't talk to you about it before.
Yes, yeah. So, for me, I think me and you are on the same page with Bull Durham. I mean, not sorry, reverse. So with Raging Bull, another Bull movie, I think we're on the same page. That's pretty much my lowest one. I've seen it once. I don't think I'll probably ever watch it again, to be honest with you. Jake LaMotta. It's a great story if you're interested and stuff, but to me, I couldn't get behind watching it a second time. And it's not for anything other than I don't know. Like I said, I don't know if it aged too well because I mean, there's other Scorsese, De Niro movies where I'm just like, it's obvious that his gangster movies that they make are incredible. So I mean, if you want to go that route, Goodfellas. I heard The Irishman's insane. I haven't had 3.5 hours yet to kill, but yeah. So I think we're on the same page. That's the bottom for me. I love Bull Durham. Hoosiers obviously is a classic, but man, I always love the natural man when he's hitting the lights and the
Yeah,
home
yeah.
run and stuff. I enjoy that, and I've seen
Hobbs.
that a bunch. Yeah, and so I've seen it a few times, and I could definitely watch it again. That's the thing about that. But if we're just talking, what's the overall best one? Just which one is the best out of these ones? It's probably Hoosiers for me. I watched it as a really young kid, and I just loved it. I remember one of my friends introduced me to it, and I never heard of it. And I was young; I was probably 10, 12 years old. And like you said, I was kind of just infatuated with the story of that. I always thought high school basketball was going to be like the end all be all after that. Like that was going to be life. You know what I mean? And I think that kind of carried me through why I think it's the best
Mine,
classic movie available right now.
mine was for Hoosiers. It was Coach Laughlin at Creekside. For
Yeah, yeah,
for me for seventh grade basketball. He he went to Purdue, so he's from Indiana. And he was like a real small town, like type Indiana type dude. And when I was getting ready to play my seventh grade year, which is kind of like your first year of actually getting real competitive with basketball, I would say. Yeah, he made us watch Hoosiers, just to kind of let us know, that it doesn't matter what the opponents look like. You're going to go out and you're all playing on a 10-foot hoop. The courts are the same. Courts are the same
right,
length, same
right.
distance. They're playing the same. You just kind of set a valid message to, even if you are the underdog, you know, bring the fight and don't come intimidated. And yeah, so the message overall in it is a great message, and so that's always kind of something a good memory for me.
Yeah.
Going back to the
No,
old
I
Creekside Middle School days.
yeah, heck yeah. Well, Lawrence T. Jones now, but yeah, back when we were there.
Once a Falcon, always a Falcon. Come on.
No Jaguars here, baby.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, so I agree. So for anyone that does want to watch so I have a Roku. That's why I threw these in there. I don't know if a lot of people do have Rokus. I kind of am against cable companies right now. So Roku has Raging Bull and Bull Durham, both the Bull movies. If you want to check those out, The Naturals on Netflix, and Hoosiers is on Stars. So you have to have a nice little cable package for that one. But thanks, mom and dad, because I do not pay for mine. Not at all. That's why I love the Roku. I kind of piggyback on a lot of their stuff. So anyway, so those are the classic movies. So I think all those are great movies. I'm glad that we got to cover those. We'll try not to do any spoilers. If we do, we'll list them in the description beforehand. But so we'll try our best to keep it just on the overall themes of the movie and stuff like that. So, like Cody talked about, we don't take our sports movies too seriously. Obviously, when we get to our top five, I imagine you won't see anything like Brian's song or anything like that on there. While Cody mentioned they make valid points, they make great stories. I don't know if either one of us, really are into that to the point where they're going to be one of our favorite movies. But with that said, this next category, comedy, does not have to be any kind of serious movie. It's supposed to just be a comedy. So from the list I sent you, I sent Cody a spreadsheet, so I think he got them all. From the list I sent you that's available for streaming, do you have your top comedy for people to go out and watch?
Okay, so I mean, I guess do you want? I can list a few that are here on here. We got Semi Pro, obviously ridiculous. Will Ferrell, team owner, basically almost of like the G League. He's trying to go legit.
Yeah, for real.
Go Tropics. Let's see. We got Major League on there. That's just beyond a classic.
Absolutely.
It's got to
1, 2, or 3.
Charlie Sheen,
Wild Thing.
Wild Thing, Rick Wild Thing Bond. Let's see, we got Rookie of the Year, which is always kind of one of the. I feel like that's one of the first movies you kind of see as a little kid. Kid's arm gets messed up, his tendons grow back in tight. All of a sudden, he can throw 100 miles per hour, and
is that Is that the first ever Tommy John? You know what I mean?
It really, man. How about that too, dude? That's so disappointing. Like Noah Syndergaard now too. Tommy John, Chris Sale already.
I know.
Tommy John. Severino for the Yankees on a smaller level. What's his face for the Giants? Is it Bede or whatever? But I think he was going to be their fifth starter. Tommy John, man, just everybody seems to have to get that surgery nowadays. It's crazy.
I know. It's insane.
Let's see. I mean, what do we got here? We got Kingpin, kind of classic for bowling.
Woody Harrelson.
That's hilarious. But so those are a few. I feel like those are kind of. Oh, Caddyshack. Caddyshack's playing right now. Which is a golf classic. You can't really go wrong with Caddyshack. For me, as far as I'm not even going to say I'm going to rank those, but just for me, Major League is.
Give me your top one. Yeah, I was going to say. Give me your top one.
Major League's like just a cut above the rest. All for me, it's a movie that kind of just. It didn't matter what friends we were with. Our boy Jason McIntyre, we all had our little lines from that movie. Too high. Oh, yeah. What do you mean? What do you mean too high? I won't say the bad word, but who cares? It's gone. You know what I mean? There's So Major League.
Signed Jack Parkman.
Major League.
The second one,
but the second one. Even Back to the Minors had its moments. You know what I mean?
I like Back to the Minors, man. Yeah, it was good.
So Major League for me is just by far it's one of the reasons that it was weirdly during that time frame kind of our lives, like Manny Ramirez and Kenny Lofton, Omar Vizquel, Roberto Alomar. The Cleveland Indians were really good in real life as well. Right. And I just always remember buying and having a whole bunch of having my parents buy, but having Cleveland Indians hats, and that was, besides the Giants, that was our go-to team, man. That's who we loved. We used to reenact. That's who we always were, playing like front yard baseball with our boy
Albert Bell too.
Albert Bell for a long period of time. Jim Tomei kind of came on the scene after that. They were it was a ridiculously good run for them. You
were always Manny Ramirez, and was always Kenny Lofton. I kind of jumped around between guys, but that's funny. You always reenact stuff as a kid, but that's hilarious.
And so Major League for me is definitely at the top of my comedy list. That's streaming or playing right now on different services.
Yeah. So you prefaced it and you said like how crazy it is, and it just comes down to one thing for me, and that's that you need to, that we just, more of us anyway, need, to just get tropical. So just remember, let's get tropical, people. So you got Coffee Black, you got, Monix, and the semi-pro movie with Will Ferrell. He's like, he's blocking his own teammate from scoring baskets, because otherwise, if they score 100, he has to buy everyone what, corn dogs or
We
something.
can't give away free corn dogs.
We don't have any corn dogs. It's just a great movie. Just, if you haven't seen that, you absolutely need to check it out. Like Cody said, they're in a race to join the NBA. I think they're an ABA team or one of those other leagues that were merging at the time. They're from Flint, Michigan, the Flint Tropics. Man, it's funny, man, and it's good. There's bears, there's all kinds of good stuff. So
I will admit too, the first probably time I watched semi-pro, I kind of said it was overrated. You know what I mean? I was
not
not,
me. I
I was
loved it.
like, I was like, I don't know. Like, it was okay for a Will Ferrell movie. You know what I mean?
Right.
And then I feel like you just kind of keep watching it over and over, and you just find something different that's funny. For me, at least, that's how it was. Because my girlfriend, even the other day, it was listed, and I was like, man, if you want to watch just a dumb late night comedy, we couldn't fall asleep. We're like, I was like, let's just watch Semi-Pro, and she's like, I don't know, I didn't really think that one was that great, and I was like, you have to watch it again. I'm telling you, everybody. So even if you watched it before and just said, yeah, it was okay, watch it again, and you'll see all the type of stupid stuff we were just talking about. That's hilarious.
Yeah, and you need to think too, that movie was coming out like post Step Brothers probably. So it's like, come on, man, if you're comparing any Will Ferrells, man,
And I
geez,
and
that bar is set high after that.
I think Talladega Nights, like another sports movie, was right around that
Right.
time frame.
Yeah.
He was coming up with some just absolute hilarious comedies that were kind of going box office, you know what I mean, sort of numbers. And so Semi-Pro, I don't know. It's a great Halloween costume, if not anything else. Clay Thompson pulled it off quite well.
That's for sure.
And I
Okay.
would like to say a comedy aspect of Major League, Bob Uecker kills it.
Oh my goodness.
You know what
He's
I mean?
like, he's like, brought to you by oh, I don't got it. Who gives a shit?
Money, I'm in the bag.
I love too. He's like, we scored one run on one hit. We got one goddamn hit. You can't say damn on the air. It's hilarious, man. That's very true. Bob Uecker, man, because he's the Brewers announcer.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's retired yet.
I think
I know he was having some health issues. So
I was
maybe
gonna
only
say,
does home games now or something.
it might be one of those things where only home games, or maybe he just kind of, kind of almost like Kruko's doing for the Giants right now, where he's not traveling, doing that sort of stuff. I almost bet it could be along those lines.
He's one of the best, man. He is just awesome. So, all right, I'm gonna list a few dramas out here. That way we don't go over the whole list, and then you can give me the one that you think's best. So in sports, like we said, besides comedy, it's generally a drama if it's not a documentary. So, as far as dramas that I see that I jotted down here, I'm just gonna give you the best ones, and you just choose from them, because there's some of them that I think are okay, but I don't think they're like, I didn't like Glory Road was pretty good, but I didn't think it was like, I won't even say pretty good. It was okay.
I don't love Glory Road.
Yeah, me neither. And and then a movie like Coach Carter. I mean, come on, man, you're talking about the acting capabilities from Coach Carter movie that's got Samuel L. Jackson. And it's okay. Again, and the thing that always frustrates me is
you would think we would really like it too, just off of the factor of it's from Richmond, right, California, which is pretty close to, but it's only like a 20-minute drive from where we're from. But it just didn't do it for me. I don't know.
What bothers me is I know that they in the previews they talked a lot about how they the players did a lot of their own stunts, but you can always tell when a kid never really played basketball growing up, and they just have these awkward motions and stuff. Stuff like that really bothers me for some reason. I bring it up to my girlfriend all the time about when I can tell, like, for instance, like in High School Musical, when Zac Efron was supposed to be the basketball star, but he couldn't shoot a basketball without looking ridiculous. We watch the show Glee sometimes, and the basketball star is supposed to be a basketball star. When he did a layup, I'm like, bro, like that's not a layup. Like just Little
Well,
stuff like that just
well, I tell
bothers
you
me.
what. I mean, Channing Tatum could ball, so I know you're not
Oh
talking
my
about him.
god. Channing. Yeah, he was such a small character in that. Okay, but we'll move on to let's just do the good ones. So,
I will do.
so
You know what's kind of crazy? Sorry, I just had to bring up his
yeah.
name, but that dude. So his name's Rick Gonzalez, the dude from with the afro in that movie.
Yeah.
He that fool gets so many sports roles. If you think about it, he's always like a high school sports kid, or you know what I mean, or some sort of troubled.
What else did he do? He did the baseball, what, the rookie?
He did the rookie, and then he here. I probably should have looked it up right beforehand, but it's one of those things that's just funny. He's almost like typecasted so hard as
Yeah.
as the I don't know. I mean, I know it's not a sports movie, but he's in role bounce. He kind of just always is. He's supposed to be some athletic sort of uh person. I don't know. It's just funny to me. Like whenever I see him, he's just so typecasted and everything. But
Yeah. All right. So dramas. So I have basically what I have listed is Above the Rim, basketball movie, classic. Tupac's in it. If you ever want to check it out, great movie. Um, Hardball, one of the saddest movies I think I've ever seen.
R.I.P.G.
And
baby.
like G baby, I know, man. Dang, that's a tough one. Any Given Sunday, football movie, Al Pacino, Jamie Foxx. Some weird scenes in it for me, but overall, this is pretty entertaining movie. Um, and then we'll leave it there. So we'll go with like I said, we'll go with Any Given Sunday. We'll go with Hardball, and we'll go with Above the Rim. One basketball, one baseball, one football. One from the big three.
Um, what was it? What was the first one you had? Above
Um,
the, above the rim.
Above the Rim,
Yeah,
Hardball, and then Any Given Sunday.
I mean, I like all three. For me, above the
No, it's
rim.
a good list. It's a good
Yeah,
list.
yeah, above the rim. Um, I like the aspect of the street basketball sort of aspect of it. You know what I mean? Kind of
Oh
growing up
yeah.
and the still in the streets, kind of um, to anything with Tupac, I'm gonna enjoy anyways because he was
You hear that, Nutso? He says he owes me. Man, no, that's the movie. Leon. No, that's the
or,
movie, man. That's
you know
Above the Rim's the one, man.
Bernie Mac in
Uh,
it. Um,
yeah, Tupac. Yeah, we'll leave it. Watch it.
no,
If you
yeah,
haven't
we won't.
seen
Yeah,
it,
we won't save
won't
everything
spoil
like that.
nothing.
But so there is even just really talented people. The homie, I always forget his name, but that plays Darius Bannock in Cool
I
Runnings.
think that's why I said I think his name's like Leon. I think it's just like a single. I
It's
think it's
something
like
like that.
Cher. I think it's just like a Leon. I'm pretty sure his name is.
But he's dope too, good actor. And so yeah, overall, just the quality of it, and I like the storyline of kind of like a hotshot kid that's getting recruited to some big time colleges. He has some
I
dream
love that he goes
schools.
to Georgetown in like the Iverson years
Honestly,
too, bro.
it's kind of funny because I always thought, and whenever I looked at it, he kind of fit so much the Allen Iverson clone. They even have him wearing like the sideways New York Yankees hat in that movie and
Like
stuff.
lightly based on him, you
Yeah,
know.
where I'm like, are you kind of going a little Iverson here? But
I know. I'd have
but
to check the years. I'm not sure if they line up properly, but maybe they do. I'm not sure. It's around that same time.
but yeah. So for me, it's an easy one. I definitely go above the rim as far as that.
Yeah, I wish I could disagree with you. Like I said, Hardball is one of the saddest movies of all time, and Keanu Reeves, I think he's underrated a lot of times, man. Keanu Reeves, like I get it. There's memes about him as John Wick all the time, and all those like, he's kind of, he's not. I wouldn't call him like an action hero, so it's kind of weird when you see him in stuff like that. But um, overall, dude, he does some cool stuff, man. I like Keanu Reeves, and he's solid in it. So. And it's about for anyone who wants to know, hasn't seen it, it's about a guy who's kind of a degenerate gambler and stuff like that, who basically takes a job to coach an inner city baseball team, just to make some money, so he can bet more, I guess. I mean, I don't really remember exactly
Well, the
why
goal was,
he.
the goal was to pay off his debt, but
Right, but then
he
he
kind
gets back
of
into it or
yeah
whatever.
he was taking the bet just to make a really large bet.
Right.
To,
Yeah. So yeah, that's the premise of it, and then some stuff happens.
you got to pay off the Baba.
Yeah, exactly. So, um, yeah, but it's a good movie. You should definitely, if you haven't seen it, you should definitely check it out. Um, I'd say
Your other one was Any Given Sunday.
yeah, I know. I was checking my notes to see if I wanted to add any other movies in. I think
You
those three
put
are the best ones.
you
So
put you put
drama.
you put Bagger Vance on there as far as I
Yeah,
don't
but we're gonna cover that in golf, so I figured
okay.
we'll talk about that one later. It's
That
cool.
works. That works for me. I mean, there's a lot of
Yeah,
good golf movies that
yeah,
were
no,
made.
for sure. I wish I could have found more of them. They weren't streaming, unfortunately. So, but we could bring them up later. What I was gonna say though was that, yeah, Any Given Sunday is good. It's Al Pacino's head coach of a football team from Miami. Jamie Foxx gets thrust into the role of starting quarterback when their starter goes down, and he has, he's steaming. Willie Beeman, he's the new hot shot quarterback, and all that. So, there's a lot of stuff. It's an adult movie though. Don't watch it with any of your kids. So
And
I'll
it's,
say it at that.
if you think about it too, you mentioned Al Pacino and Jamie Foxx. Cameron Diaz is in it. Dennis Quaid, LL Cool J. So uh,
Oh, don't forget Lawrence Taylor.
I was gonna say. Oh, I thought you were gonna say Jim Brown. I was gonna say there's
Oh,
some big time. There's some
Jim Brown. Yeah,
big
yeah.
time real NFL talent in there.
Don't drop me. I'm worth $1 million. No, it's a solid movie, man. They're the Sharks, dude. It's a good movie. So it's that all three of those are worth a watch though. If this shelter in place goes for more than a couple of weeks, you got plenty of time. I would say watch all three. To be honest with you, they're good movies overall.
For sure, they're definitely well done. Cool storylines, no matter which way you go with it. And yeah, some more adult versions, like you said. And then Hardball is definitely um, it is extremely touching and sad at the same time, but it also is, um, kid friendly in a way. But it's, some real life stuff. And like you said, Keanu Reeves does a great job in it.
Agreed. So one of the deepest categories that I noticed was baseball, and I started thinking about it a lot actually because what I started thinking about was what movies I've seen, and by categorizing them by sport, and it seems like a lot of people make baseball movies for some reason. Do you get that feeling? I like because when I think about it, not just looking at what's streaming right now, but I started thinking and I'm like, a lot of the really good movies are baseball. Like when you think about like football or basketball, you obviously have your really great ones, but like there's not none of those like middle of the road ones. You know what I'm saying? I feel like the baseball like covers like middle of the road, great movie, good movie, comedies. I feel like baseball does the most, like has the most and does the most with what they got.
Now I know this isn't something. It's just my opinion. It's just a little bit of a factor of the movies. How you even were talking a little bit about, you can tell when someone hasn't played the sport, or if it looks a
Right.
little bit awkward, or when they need stunt people to come in. Baseball, sports like baseball and golf and stuff are so slow that you can get really good shots, and
Yeah.
and coverage, and pretty much kind of anyone can look like they know what they're doing somewhat, even if they're really bad at those sports still. Football and basketball are so quick and action
Right.
packed that it's probably harder to make
Get
a
good
good
actors that
film
can make it look
at all.
right.
That's why when you see a good one of those sports, it's like, oh wow, that was well done. But just a little thing. I don't know. I don't know if there's just great storylines and America's pastime with baseball, or what it is. But yeah, it does seem to be that way a little bit, where it just seems like, as far as classics, when you're looking at your list, baseball
Yeah.
seems to just top all else by far.
I know it's weird, man. I get that same feeling, and I mean, to a certain extent, baseball's easy to look. It's really hard to play, but I guess if you hit enough grounders, guys are gonna look good, scooping it up and throwing it. But I think about like Major League Three. I don't know the guy's name because he's not like a well-known actor, but that pitcher with that funky motion, he looked like he never threw a ball in his entire life. So
Yeah, they
and
just call him
Carlos Liston's coming for him. So
they just, they just call him Hog in the movie.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So, I mean, to your point though, yeah, I mean, I guess maybe that's a factor. I try to figure it out, but I don't know. So, before we go any further, did you get anything special? I'm guessing you're sticking to your diet though,
Yeah, I'm
aren't you?
sticking to my diet. I was still boring, but I was excited because I had told you I found how last week I found the new White Claw flavors. This week, Truly's. uh, they were doing. I don't know if it's new or if I'm just late to the party, but for their hard seltzers, they're doing basically a lemonade line, and I just love lemonade in general.
Yeah.
um, so this one's a black cherry lemonade that I'm drinking. It's delicious. They did all types of lemonade flavors. There's strawberries, regular lemonade, and if you've ever drank a basically like a Mike's Hard Lemonade or a Mike's Harder Lemonade, they almost taste exactly like that. It's just healthier for you as far as carbs and sugars and that sort of thing. It's
Right.
hard to be healthy right now. Staying indoors, I was
Take what you can get.
doing pretty good with my diet, and then it's kind of, you don't exactly eat that great right now at home, and then all the gyms and everything close, and you're not even supposed to go on hikes or do anything right now either. So
Yeah.
trying to be healthy, especially with a pregnant girlfriend at home, where I don't want to bring anything back. So staying in and staying safe. So I'm kind of just sticking with some very basic stuff right now. Um, like we said before, we don't live together anymore, so we're not drinking the same thing or together anymore. Did you pick up anything special from the grocery store?
Oh yeah. So I work at a grocery store, and unfortunately for us, we are a necessary company, so we have to stay open. So I have been there, and I saw the black can for the Trulies, I think it was, and I thought about it because I know that you had sent me a picture, and I had never seen them, or I saw them at work, but I just thought they just changed the box color,
Mm.
and so I considered getting them, but then I was like, you know what, apparently I got to carry the tap part of this. Okay,
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Sports Bros on tap. No,
I,
so
I was
people,
almost gonna I was almost gonna bust out the moonshine.
oh yeah,
I had a jar of moonshine where I was like, oh, I should just go for this, but
I got
I
one of
was
those
I was
mini
too
ones.
chicken.
No. See, I got a mini one for Christmas. Someone gave me a small bottle, but I don't have a big one or anything. But no, I'm just kidding. For anyone who does know, me and him, we drink anything and everything. So each week it could be beer, it could be wine, it could be spirits. It doesn't really matter. We're just drinking the tap part though. For this week, I did. So I went out and got Goose Island IPA. 5.9% alcohol per volume. So when I lived in Northern California and then moved to LA, this is a real popular one in LA. I think it's gotten just as popular probably in the Bay Area now. I've seen it around when I
Yeah,
was up
any
there recently.
anytime you go to a event, a concert or car show or anything kind of
Yeah.
local like that, it's always the one of the options that are on tap here. It's super super popular as far as all the big time events and everything like that. You can't miss the tap handle that they use.
Yeah, no, I was gonna say, if you see a goose on a tap handle, you know exactly what it is. So, yeah, I'm drinking that. I know it's got it doesn't have roots in LA, but I know when I moved to LA, it was really popular, and that's when I started drinking it. Again, like I said, 5.9 alcohol per volume. It's a good IPA. It's so like for anyone that drinks Lagunitas, it's nothing like their IPA. Okay, it's much lighter. It doesn't have as much of that like hoppy type flavor that it has. It's a much easier drink, I would say, than a lot of the IPAs out there. But it still has that like 6%. So it'll still give you a nice little shake, a little buzz, and I enjoy it. It's a little bit lighter one. I've been drinking it for years now, and like you said with the shelter in place thing, sometimes I got to take what I can get. A lot of the craft beer, surprisingly, was something that was almost sold out at my store, so I had to choose between this or going domestic with and I'll probably do that at some point, but I not today. So
Yeah,
Goose Island,
I think people are still doing a lot of drinking at home when not much else to
yeah,
do, and
no,
could imagine a few parents out there and stuff like that are probably you've earned the extra cocktail or beer or wine, whatever your choice is,
spritzer.
with having the Rugrats running around all day. Yeah,
That's for sure, man. I'll
make
crack
it
one
make
more with
make it a Boilermaker.
that. All right. Well, even though we're apart, I always like to cheers. I don't got you here, but I got two bottles.
Cheers.
Cheers, man. Yeah, so like we talked about, the baseball movies, top notch. I don't know why. I feel like that category in particular is what it is, and I think that it shows with the list that I sent you, honestly. So, if we were going to talk about the best baseball movies only, so we're not, like I said, I sent you the list with basketball, football, tennis, whatever I could find. But so if we're talking baseball movies, I put 4 of them on here that I thought were the best available baseball movies. If you disagree, if there's one on there, like I left Hardball off. Like I said, that one's kind of like a, for me, it's just so sad. That's why I can never put it up there. It hurts too much. But so baseball movies, we talked about Major League, obviously, and how awesome it is as a comedy. But then you have Little Big League, Rookie of the Year, and 61, which 61 is the movie about Roger Maris and Mickey Mantle's home run, Babe Ruth record for the home run chase. And it is, I love it, actually. Barry Pepper, and the whole cast just absolutely crush what I assumed was like for the Yankees back then. I think the year also happened to be 61, I want to say. I'm not 100% on that though. I feel like there was some kind of parity between the year and the amount of home runs they hit. Not 100%. But man, the way that New York and the nation just absolutely rallied around Mickey Mantle compared to Roger Maris is amazing to me, especially knowing that Maris was the MVP the previous season is incredible. I know Mickey's, he's the New York guy, like they have a song about him for, but the movie is really well done. A lot of the docudramas to me sometimes are either really, really bad or really, really good. This is one of the ones that's really, really good. We already talked about Rookie of the Year. I think we talked about it, right? Rowan Gardner, the tendon.
We mentioned a little bit, becomes the closer for the Chicago Cubs, and
right,
he kind of gets to live out his dream and everything like that.
Everyone's dream, I think. That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
so and then like I said, then you also have Little Big League, which is an amazing movie.
So I'll just take it up from right there, because I know a lot of people will just think I'm stupid for this because the other ones are really great. Little Big League for me is the one that does it.
Yeah,
that's that for some reason, just that childhood movie. I think it's probably because I've always known I couldn't be, basically, I never was going to be a professional athlete. And so, like when he gets to take over for, people that haven't seen it. His grandfather is the owner of the Minnesota Twins. Long story short, certain things happen. He gets to take over being the owner of the Twins as probably a young 13-year-old kid around that ballpark. Young kid. And then he hires himself as manager. And he's going to, deal with all the situations of not being respected because of his age and everything like that from the big leaguers. But he knows his stuff. He's really knows baseball. That's what he lives, breathes, eats, sleeps. And it just, I don't know, it's something about the movie. It's not even necessarily like it's super funny or anything. There's no crazy star power, I would say, even in the film. It's just has its super funny moments with Bowers. I know it's you, buddy.
Bowers, man, that's the guy.
So it just does it for me. I don't know. I love this. I love the storyline to it. It has a very realistic ending. It's not all good and happy and everything at the end, and it's certain life lessons. And overall, it's just a really well done movie to me. It brings me back to my childhood. It always was one of my favorite movies as a child. And I don't know if it's just because it's not quite as popular as some of those other movies you were listing, but it is really hard to find sometimes. It's not just a movie that's on regular TV or anything like that, so you don't get to see it as much. I mean, I'm realistically, now that we're just talking about it, I'm gonna check to see if I can just even purchase it on my on demand for $5, $10 or something just to have it. That's the one that just does it for me. There's even real players at the end and stuff. They have Griffey and Randy Johnson and
gets the hidden ball trick too. No, it's a quality movie, and it's on the Roku. Again, my Roku device is giving me some great freebies, so you can always check that out too. But no, I agree with you. It's a really good one. It like we always talk about, the Bowers thing always gets me. Bowers made me do it, all that kind of stuff. A guy rides a horse, or a guy rides a horse in on Friday, or a guy rides in on Friday. He's like, he leaves 2 days later on Sunday. What's his horse's name? The horse's name is Friday. It's like, that kind of stuff. There's like small stuff in there that's comedic, and then him having to finish his math homework before he can take the field. They go through, if two painters start painting a house and this and that. And then I actually had equations like that when I was, in my statistics class in college, which always cracked me up because they were so similar. So, no, it's just a quality movie overall. His friends are funny. He's a young kid on the road, and so he's watching inappropriate movies, and his mom gets the bill, and all that kind of stuff. So
It's like the
there's
night nurses of Hollywood or something. Must have been a good show.
Hey, no, exactly. So while I agree with you that it is a really good one, Major League, I mean, I know you already did it as your comedy, so maybe you're trying to spread it out a little bit. Major League, to me, I watched it when I found it on the Roku. Again, it's a Roku. Major League 2, however, is on Netflix and Hulu, so you can always check out the second one if you want. But which is also great. That's one of those ones where they're all three of them, as we talked about, are pretty solid. Honestly, it didn't fall off, which is a great thing. But Major League's a tough one to beat, man. Like we talked about Charlie Sheen, and I'm thinking about moving to England. It's just a quality series
I love
overall.
this British stuff. Yeah, I mean, I kind of was thinking you were gonna go in the direction
Yeah,
of Major League, so
I knew. I
I
figured
just
that's what you're doing.
I didn't want to just say it, but honestly, but I did want to make sure I gave my appreciation for Little Big League. It does have this soft spot in my heart, and it is really high up there for me in sports movies. And
No,
which
yeah,
which I think is one of those movies where other people, where there probably is people out there right now that are going, "What the heck is Little Big League?" I've never heard
yeah.
of that.
No, and it's definitely worth a watch for sure. Like we talked about, Rookie of the Years, it's pretty good, but I wouldn't say it's on that level. And then 61, if anyone is a Yankees fan or just a appreciation for the records and stuff like that, it's overall a very solid movie about what actually happened in those years. Mickey Mantle's bit out of control at times, it seemed like. So just watch it. That also is another good one. It's a HBO though, so you do have to have that for as far as for
And it is,
streaming.
it is just really well done. I don't know what it is. I think it's just I have this spot in me where, because it's really brought on because of the Sammy Sosa and Mark McGuire chase of
Yeah,
breaking
absolutely.
his record, and McGuire eventually does break it, obviously, which then later on our boy Barry Bonds breaks McGuire's. But I
Destroys.
I think there's this little thing in me that there's I just don't like it as much as I should because of the McGuire factor in it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know how else to say it. But that whole thing just bugs me. I wish, and it's one of those things. I know everyone's gonna say I'm a hypocrite because I'm a Barry Bonds fan, but I don't know. I think Barry Bonds is more legit than McGuire and Sosa, and so I don't know. I have a weird thing that's the only thing about that movie I don't like. But that movie is really well done, and I
No, it
really
is.
do. It's a
It
great
is.
film.
No, I agree. I can see where you're coming from with that. There is a emphasis on McGuire breaking the record and this and that. But to me, I can look past it. It's well done. It's a good movie. Like I said, this is another one. So when I started this search for this thing, when we talked about it last week, it's another one. I did watch 61. Like I said, I watched Major League yesterday. So I've been watching a few of these recently too, just to get a little refresher course. And now the category I want to hit is probably, I don't know, man. It's becoming older and less athletic and not being able to play as many sports or run as far and stuff. Golf has really became pretty much my favorite sport. I love getting out there on the links. So streaming wise, I was able to find two good movies too. I mean, that's the thing. Is like some of these I was reaching for, like when I was looking for soccer categories and other stuff like that. But basically, I was able to find Bagger Vance, which stars Will Smith, Matt Damon, about a guy that was basically a prodigy golfer but went off to war and is facing his own PTSD demons, it seems like, and comes out to play against two of the greatest golfers in his era, and basically kind of galvanizes a small town altogether. And it's a good drama. Is Will Smith a ghost? Is he not? Who knows? This is just a quality film that you should definitely check out. Or you have Caddyshack, which is one of the. So it's funny. It did not get a good reception when it was first came out. People didn't really understand it. It has became a cult classic. It is an amazing movie. Chevy Chase is great in it. Um, Tons of other things that go on. It was if I remember correctly, it was Rodney Dangerfield's first comedy or first movie role. And overall, it just it came from that National Lampoon guys. That's the National Lampoon magazine. They got into film. They did Animal House first. I think their second movie was Caddyshack, if I remember correctly. And and I'll tell you, it's funny. It is a funny movie. So out of those two, though, which one are you taking?
So I guess I'll kind of almost cheat it a little bit in a way. I don't know. I mean, I feel like, you know, I mean, you have Bill Murray, Rodney Dangerfield, Chevy Chase. Like, Caddyshack's just one of those classic
Yeah.
classics. You know what I mean? And I've always said I don't. I'm more with my sports movies go in the direction, I guess, of not too serious and comedies, and those sort of things. Um, and so I guess I would say Caddyshack, but I will say, as far as Bagger Vance, I don't know. It has one of those soft spots, like I say again, in there for me.
I mean, you got the hometown hero teeing off against Bobby Jones, Walter
I want
Hagen.
to
You
say
know what I mean? Come on.
Walter Hagen's a pretty funny character, in in that one. I think just one of those things, kind of life lessons sort of things, for the young man who thinks golf's the greatest game in the world. You know what I mean? It's one of the
Right.
only sports I know you can call a penalty on yourself. And
Yeah, yeah.
and I think it just almost has more of kind of hidden messages, things about working hard, and certain people in times of the depression who filed bankruptcy, but his dad's out there cleaning the streets. You know what I mean?
Right.
And so it has a certain respect factor and message for me, where it's not just some complete goof comedy like Caddyshack. And so I think I have a certain appreciation for Bagger Vance. Sorry, I'm blanking on it. And yeah, so I guess I'll go that route and play that factor in it. I think it's one of the better serious sports movies, I would say, and it still has it's almost like some real golf. I guess the storyline of the comeback, and it's a little pretty crazy and a little unrealistic, but I won't like ruin certain things in the movie if you haven't seen. But yeah, so Bagger Vance definitely is a one of those movies where when it's on, I always notice I'll watch it. You know what I mean? So that's always a sign of a good
So,
movie.
but which one do you lean to? If you only had one day left on quarantine and you had to watch one of them, you taking Caddyshack or you gonna watch Bagger Vance?
I probably at that point, I guess, if you're only giving me one day, I'm gonna go with the comedy. I'm gonna laugh at the end of it, so I'll go Caddyshack.
All right. Well, if you guys want to peep Caddyshack, it's actually on AMC. You need cable for that, but again, I have the Roku. I just download the app, so it's available on demand in the movies for sure, because that's how I watch them. For anyone who wants to watch Bagger
I want to say,
Vance,
and we're doing the movies that are you're able to see right now, that we have found
available.
available. We understand, Tin Cup
Hey
and
Cody, what's the best ability?
Happy Gilmore availability. All
You're right.
right. And right
So
now, this day and age, you need availability. All right.
yeah,
So
because there's a ton. Like you said, you were getting onto some of them. Don't spoil because they might be on our list, but they there's a ton of ways to get them nowadays. Like for instance, Prime will let you rent a lot of videos for $2.99, $3.99 if you really want to watch them. We're not saying these are the best golf movies of all time, but as Cody said, these are ones that I was able to find for if you have a cable service or a streaming service. So that way you don't have to add to that bill, extra $3-4 just to watch a movie. But yeah, as he said, so I was gonna bring this up too, Tin Cup, because it's not on my top five. Is it in your top five of all time?
no,
I'll
it's
ask
not.
you.
It's not.
Okay,
But
no, it's not on mine either. So we can talk about it though. Tin Cup is a great movie. Tin Cup for me would be I'd watch it before I watch either one of these. Man, I nutted it. Man, when he goes out there and grabs the 3 wood and tries to bury it over the water, man, that's a good movie. If you guys ever get a chance, man, you got Nash Bridges in there. You got all kinds of good stuff. And it's just a quality film, honestly. And I love the idea of someone who can just go play in the open. I don't think that's a real thing. Just because it says it's open, I don't think you can go play in it. I mean, you have to have a certain handicap, obviously, and stuff like that.
Yeah,
But I don't know how it works. But they
I
make it feel
know.
like if I just start playing good enough, I can go play in the U.S. Open or
I mean,
something. You know?
I know there's certain tournaments though that, and even the majors where the club members, if they shoot a good enough score, they can qualify to play
Yeah.
in the actual
But that
tournament.
means you,
So
you still had to be a member at the club, though, which
yeah,
who has
yeah,
150,000, $300,000.
yeah. No, I got you. But yeah, so it is one of those things. So I know there is like little loopholes where we all know, even stories that are true stories in movies are based on true stories, so that they fudge things a little bit. I mean, it's even funny that Cheech from Cheech and Chong is, you know what I mean, is his caddy in the movie. Is just, I don't know.
Right.
They're just goofy things that are just it's a tough sport, and it shows he's so stubborn and Tin Cup.
What's funny is I referenced Nash Bridges before, and Don Johnson is kind of like the bad guy golfer in that movie.
Mhm.
And then you brought up Cheech, who's the caddy. They were partner on Nash Bridges together, the TV show.
That's funny. I wouldn't have put it together, but
Yeah, right. That is pretty funny. And you know what else I forgot to mention to everyone is that so we were talking about Caddyshack, which I told you was National Lampoon, which if for those who don't know is like kind of, it started off I think as a magazine a long time ago and then turned into they made movies. Like I said, Animal House, one of the funniest comedies of all time, one of the best comedies. That's where like Bluto and the food fight and all that kind of stuff went down. Netflix, I believe it's a Netflix original. I'm not 100% on that, but I think it is. And it's called A Futile and Stupid Gesture. So this is not a sports movie. But I thought I should mention it because it's basically chronicling the National Lampoon story from beginning with Douglas Kinney, who was the guy who founded it with his friend. I think his name was like Henry Bird, something like that. And it's a quality movie. That's why I know so much about the Caddyshack story, because it's in there though. So the actual, like, they're making it in the same year the Airplane came out, which was like the most funny. Like, surely you can't be serious. I'm serious, and don't call me Shirley. It's like that time frame. And so it's like, it's just something out there. By the way, if you're streaming and you're looking for something, it's kind of a docudrama type thing. It's a good movie though. I had a lot of laughs. Will Forte plays the lead role. Again, that's just because it has Caddyshack ties. It is not a sports movie, by the way. So back to where we were, which is Tin Cup, great movie. So I think we've covered golf. I don't want to get too much into it because I like I said, at the end of this, we are going to do our top 5, and we may have a golf movie in there. I have a golf movie in there. I'll just tell you, I got a golf movie in my top 5.
Do
So
you?
don't say any more.
Oh.
Yeah, don't want to
How about-
spoil it. So
How about can I throw one thing in, because I don't quite think this is a category or something that you had to go with, because we were just talking about Tin Cup.
yeah,
I'm gonna do like a certain award right now for Kevin Costner as far as
dude.
sports movies. If you really think about it, like Kevin Costner for, let's see, so for The Love of the Game,
Yeah.
the one where he's on the Detroit Tigers trying to throw a perfect game. We're talking about Tin Cup. You have Field of Dreams. We talked about
They will come.
Build it, they will come. I think it's a small, where is it, in Iowa or a cornfield.
Yeah.
Bull Durham, which we had been talking about a little bit earlier. Let's see, we got he's even like Draft Day. You know what I mean? Where he's the GM for it. Where it's kind of pretty crazy as far as what
you were talking about typecast earlier. How about that? Jeez,
yeah, for real though.
Guy.
But I mean, shoot, those are like really, really well done, good films where I'm like, there you go, man, you can get the Oscar for just like career sports
I know.
movies or something.
Yeah, that's definitely the career achievement award, right? I mean, yeah, no, I was thinking that earlier when we started talking about Tin Cup. I was like, man, we already talked about Bull Durham. He was the catcher. I was thinking for Love of the Game because I just caught that on the TV the other day,
Hmm.
and then uh,
Field of Dreams, one of
Field
the
of Dreams,
big
which
time classics of.
don't get me wrong, that would be like a top five movie for me. But the reason that it's not is because like I'll be honest with you, it gets a little boring in the middle. Like the beginning, the end, there's some interesting parts. It's a good movie. I've watched it like 3 or 4
It's
times. It's
it's
still
funny that
not
you
in my
said that
top
too,
five
because
though.
when I was doing my top five, I put a little arrow down because I told you I was really struggling with it,
Yeah,
and that's the second one on my list, like where it's not
right.
quite in the top five, but it's
Exactly.
right below that listing.
It's around it's probably like around 10 for me because I can think of some other movies I'd prefer to watch. And it's not because they're better movies, but it's like I like to be entertained when I watch a movie. I don't necessarily want to, watch a dry movie over and over again. There's certain movies that I watch
Who
one or
does-
two times and I'm
who
good.
doesn't want that last chance to have a catch with their dad, though? Come on, come
No,
on.
I mean,
You know what I mean?
and Ray Liotta, I think, plays Shoeless Joe. It's not, it's a good movie. It's good overall, but I don't know. So I think I've hit all of our categories though. So I think it's time to bust out the top fives. I don't know. Why don't we do them one at a time?
I
How
want
about
to
that? We'll
say,
do them one at a time.
do you want to
That
start
way,
at
cause just
well,
in case we have one each,
how about we'll
or in case we have similars.
and how about we'll start at five? Like I'll give you my
Okay.
five, you give me your five. We'll give maybe a quick little
Okay. Well,
reasoning
I got to
on it
look
or
at my list
something.
then because I didn't put mine in order at top five. I just put five of them, and I just because I struggle with this a lot. So, you give me your fifth one first, and then tell people what it's about a little bit, and then while I order mine real quick.
So I'll even just say, because I told you I drew the arrow down, the ones that are right on the outskirts for me that I really wanted to put in there, but that just didn't quite make it. I had Field of Dreams. I had the D2 Mighty Ducks, so specifically D2. I like one. I like 1, 2, and 3, but 2 is the one that wins out for me. The one when they're going to the Junior Olympic Games. I put the Six Man basketball movie. I think it has like a little special thing for me just because it's a brother movie, and our best friend Bud, who his mom Barb Freitas would always get emotional of the movie because she said it always reminded her of us, the Ruble brothers. Just like a little something that it's kind of a cool movie about UW and things like that. And then I also had The Fighter listed. I think a little bit probably newer movie as far as stuff that we've been talking about, I guess, even though it's not new. But Wahlberg, Christian Bale, great,
Got the star
good.
power.
I think it's a really good boxing movie. I think you have a line that you enjoy saying in there all the time.
Oh, this is my shot. It's not you, not you, and not you.
Way to go, Marky Mark. Yeah, so that one barely missed out. So I'll go. So those are the ones just missing for me. And so number 5, I know this will seem a little bit weird and maybe out of left field, sports reference since it's a sports movie. But
No pun intended, people.
not maybe I don't even think you maybe expected this from me, but I put League of Their Own as number 5 for me.
No, I get it. I get it. Tom Hanks, incredible in it. Oh man, I wish you would have let me prep this. We wanted to be surprised, but man, why can't I remember her name now? She was great too. The one that plays Dottie. You don't know either, huh? Do you?
Well, her actual name as an actress?
Yeah.
No, I mean I could look it
Don't
up
tell me what you
super
like
quick.
about it. I got it, man. Don't worry.
Yeah, I do.
Tell
I
me
just
why it's on your top.
overall I just think it's a good film. I mean, it's the Major League Baseball is everyone's having to go off to war, so there's no longer baseball. Kind of crazy, like right now, no baseball. But the unfortunate thing is nobody could go play. But at this time frame, they thought of a great idea of having women be the professional sports teams and start their own league. And kind of based off of these two sisters, Dottie and Kid, from a small town in I would say they're the main people, but there's also really famous people. Who is it? Rosie
Well, I was gonna
O'Donnell,
say, yeah,
Madonna.
I was gonna say Madonna, Rosie O'Donnell, Tom Hanks, Gina
Yeah,
Davis. Those are the first four that pop up when you Google it.
yeah.
So I mean, that's
Um,
the star
and
power.
and so for me, Tom Hanks just kills it.
Oh man,
I absolutely just love his character in the movie. There's I don't know. There's just little.
the little kid, the son that rides the bus too with them. That's just obnoxious.
Uh,
Like,
you're gonna love your.
yeah,
um,
oh yeah, it's solid.
yeah, but overall, just I don't know. It has its funny moments. I don't know. He's like the dude of the owner. Like, yeah, I especially liked when you sat there and scratch your balls for for, for two
Yeah,
for
if
two
you
hours there in the middle and.
if we
Um,
paid you more, could you be any more disgusting? Well, I could certainly use the money.
um,
Yeah, no,
I guess we should say one of the it's kind of one of the famous lines that gets everyone there's no
oh
crying in
yeah.
baseball. Yeah, I just there's something about it. I feel like it's a weird choice for me, but it just has always been one of those movies. Like I say, for me, a sign of a really great movie is when I no matter how many times I've seen it, I will see it on TV. I will no matter what, I will sit there and watch it. And that is a movie I will sit there and rewatch again, the whole thing.
So yeah, I agree. I actually do like it. I've probably seen it 5 or 6 times. I actually enjoy that movie a lot. So I am surprised it's in your top five, but I'm not surprised that you'd choose it overall. But so we'll get to my number five, which I don't know if you can call it a sports movie. Technically, if people consider this a sport or not, but let's go play dodgeball. So that's
I
man.
saw I saw it on so many sports lists if I was doing my
Did
research on
you?
on all the lists it was listed as a sports movie. So I
Okay,
mean,
well
come on,
then,
baby, it's the Ocho. That's what everyone's watching now.
ESPN 8 the Ocho. Exactly. No, I was just ahead of my time on this. So it's just a quality movie, man. White Goodman, you got the Global Gym versus Average Joe's. Again, I must be an underdog guy. I keep picking them. So it's for me, it's just it's a quality movie about
It's
a
a
gym that
it's
needs.
a true underdog story.
Exactly. I mean, that's literally in the title if you go to the subheading. So literally, basically anyone who hasn't seen it, it's there's a gym. It's called Average Joe's, who has like the crappiest equipment you could ever believe. I don't think anyone could actually stay in shape there, even if they tried. But they're basically just a bunch of average guys. He's about to lose his gym because Vince Vaughn is very lackadaisical with his management style, and the only way they can save it is if they can come up with $50,000. Well, there's a dodgeball tournament in Las Vegas where the winner gets 50 grand. So a lot of these
We can play dodgeball.
yeah, exactly. So they go, a lot of hard on their look kind of guys join the team, and they go and up against the juggernaut, which Ben Stiller plays the leader of the Globo Gym, and it turns out
Um,
to be quite the slugfest, man.
I
It's
mean,
good,
really,
good movie.
really, if you think about it, it's a miracle they even can make the tournament anyways. I mean, you do have
True.
you got a low grade beaver tranquilizer in there somewhere in there. So I mean, there's some good stuff.
Was it Troop 39 and low grade low grade beaver tranquilizer? Exactly. So that's my five. Where you at with the four?
It's funny. I don't know if it just got stuck in my head because this is listed 4 on my list, but it also has 4 in. I went with Rocky 4. Just something about.
You're joking, right?
No, that's what I went with. I just
Number four on my list is the Rocky series, in parentheses, in
nice.
particular, number four.
Yeah,
Nice.
I really do like the original Rocky one. I was almost gonna
Won
put
the
that.
Oscar.
I
It
know,
won
but
an
there
Oscar.
something about number 4 though, going up against the Soviet.
No, I literally put in parentheses, in particular, number four. That's hilarious that we both had it at four, though. Of all the places we could have put it.
Yeah, I think a lot of people have seen the Rocky series, so I don't think we'll exactly ruin anything for anyone. We probably don't have to go into much detail about the movie, but Sylvester Stallone, basically trying to avenge his friend Apollo Creed. Yeah, overall, just one of those things. I've inspirational. I love the old school way they used to do. Everyone really likes the Creed movies and even one of the last Rocky movies where Sylvester Stallone
Antonio
flies on was
Tarver.
so yeah, when they were so I like that old school boxing when they didn't even have as good a video camera footage of
Bam!
it, where they're just throwing haymaker, just blasting each other, just you know, he
Oh, I
just
loved it.
he's just sitting there, you know what I mean, just getting wailed on. I know he does it against Mr. T in the what is that, the third one as
Oh
well. It's
yeah.
just funny, like go get him, Rock.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh
yeah,
man.
it just yeah. So number four, Rocky. That's unfortunately we have the same one. But I could not unfortunately, I guess, because that's kind of cool. We're brothers. We have a lot of similar stuff. So, I'll go with my number three now. And probably not a well known movie, I guess I would say, but I went with number three. I went with Blue Chips.
On my list
Any?
too, man. Wow.
Okay, I was gonna say, we both can give a little bit of backstory on. I'm super into recruiting. When it comes to high
Oh
school
yeah.
sports, going into college, I love the recruiting aspect. I love everything about trying to get the players that come to your schools. I think there's a lot of dirty recruiting. You hear a lot of people getting fired, and self
I mean, Happy, what
reporting.
we gave one guy a bag of cash.
You even get a house. Yeah.
Nick Nolte, man.
Shaquille O'Neal is in it. Anthony
Penny
Penny
Hardaway.
Hardaway. I always thought it was weird that the kid from Indiana wasn't actually just somebody
He's just
real.
some
You know what I
guy.
mean? Just
I know.
big kid. I wonder if he was good at sports and stuff. What was it? His Ricky some, I forget his last name, but
Yeah.
his pops wanted a John Deere.
Yeah. Well, they got him one too.
And yeah, so
And a
Blue
duffel bag full of cash. Don't forget that.
all about just fighting the integrity of sports and recruiting and doing it the right way and being proud of the team he had before when they were basically a 500 team, but he got everything he could out of them instead of just
Yeah,
kind
but,
of short.
but Tony was shaving points, man.
he could not believe that one of his players was happy owns him, happy bought him. And so yeah, that's for me is a always one of my favorite movies. Like I said, there's not too many movies about the aspect of recruiting kids and that sort of stuff, and so I think that's why it plays a really high role, or it's high on my list, I guess I should say. I think it's really well done.
Yeah, no, I agree 100%. Yeah, I think you said everything. Don't want to spoil it.
Do you want to go first for your?
Yeah, let me do two.
Or do you still
I,
was that number three for you though?
yeah.
Oh wow. Okay, so go ahead. You can
Yeah.
go two. Just so
I hope we don't have the
get
same
them.
ones like flip flopped or something, but we'll see. So number two for me is another golf movie. This was my golf one. Happy Gilmore.
I don't have it, but
thankfully.
I love
Good,
Happy
good.
Gilmore. But
So Happy Gilmore, to me, anyone who hasn't seen Adam Sandler, he's at his best. Billy Madison, Happy Gilmore. He had that stretch there where he was just couldn't do anything wrong, in my opinion. And Happy Gilmore to me is, you bring home those finger pains. You brought home those finger pains, and they suck. No, I'm sorry, baby. I didn't mean that. It's just like. There's so much to it, man. You just hit that guy. Well, he shouldn't have been standing there. There's just so much subtlety because there's parts where they try to be funny, and then there's parts where they just try to be subtle. And it's a solid comedy. And the whole thing with Ben Stiller and his grandma at the nursing home is hilarious.
But my fingers hurt. Oh yeah,
well now your back's gonna hurt.
Landscaping duty.
Yeah, I still use that line on people. So yeah, it's just, to me, it just, I just think it's one of the better ones. He hits the hole in one and he goes, I should try to do that every time. It's so yeah, that's it's in my top 5.
Instant classic, hopping into the batting cages to gotta toughen up for hockey season.
Yeah, exactly.
Great movie. I met Christopher McDonald, Shooter McGavin. By the way, what kind of is in that movie? Total creep, really. But he was sitting there. I gave him the little shooter. I was like, yeah. So Happy Gilmore's hilarious. I honestly, as far as comedy movies, I think it's one of the just best comedy movies, period. Anyways, Adam Sandler's done some Waterboy's pretty funny. He's done some pretty funny
that's
sports
true.
movies if you think about it.
Yeah.
I put Major League for my number two. I think we've kind of talked about it quite a bit enough, but
That's true. That's true. I probably should have. I just since we talked about it, I guess I just was like, man, we're gonna talk about it so much. I should put something else. But you're right. Major League should be up there.
yeah, I mean, I kind of had a feeling. I almost think that we're gonna have the same number one movie, and I almost want to say our number ones at the same time. So it'll
Okay.
so
Okay.
may-
We'll try. You try.
so
Give me a one, two,
I'll
three, and
give
we'll
you a
both
one,
say
two,
ours.
three, and we'll both just say it. All right,
Okay.
1, 2, 3.
The
Sand.
Sandlot.
Yeah, I once those other ones were so similar, I was like, you know what? Dang it! I bet it's gonna be the same thing.
I know. Well, I mean, it makes sense. We always watch movies growing up and stuff. It doesn't surprise me.
The Sandlot's one of my favorite movies of all time, just in general. It doesn't matter if we're talking sports movies, genre of anything. It's one of my favorite movies of all time. I'll put it in my top 5, just period of favorite movies. We're talking in general, period.
Benny the Jet Rodriguez, baby. That's just Smalls. Yeah, yeah. It's just a quality film.
Everything about it has funny, it has funny stuff. It has the drama of retrieving the ball. And by the way, don't bother watching the other ones. Don't watch the second one or anything
Oh
like
no,
that.
there's a third one. Did you know? I didn't even know there was a third one.
I didn't even know that. I thought
There's a guy. He's like, he falls out of love with baseball, and he like somehow ends up in the past, regaining his love of baseball, playing with kids in the Sandlot. I found it on Disney Plus when I was looking for the Sandlot to make sure it was streamable, and it wasn't yet. So they had number 2 and number 3 on Disney Plus, but not the Sandlot one because of streaming contract rights. I was like, dude, they're terrible. 2 and 3 they look terrible. I've seen 2. I haven't seen 3 yet, but but
even
number 1 is so good, man. It's such a good movie.
Oh, Big Chief.
The best. Yeah. No, I mean, dude, it's so good. The PF Flyers, bro. I wanted PF Flyers like my whole life. Make you run faster, jump higher, man.
I still just want a pair. I mean, jeez, I would. Yeah. The Sandlot. I would imagine almost everyone's seen the Sandlot already, but if you haven't, please, please, please do during this time frame of while you're bored. It's a great film. It's kind of funny because they're kind of making like their tour, but it's funny how everything kind of comes back around. They're kind of doing their tour again. Like all the professional players are doing their own Sandlot games. I know what Trevor Bauer for the Reds had put together a wiffle ball thing, calling it his Sandlot game. Yeah, so for me, not only one of the greatest sports movies of all time, but one of the greatest movies, period, of all time.
Well, and too, I think you remember. I think it was for Christmas, maybe 3 years ago, maybe 4 years ago. I got you that shirt that "You're Killing Me, Smalls." With it, and it became such a sensation. Just a Target shirt, but I swear, man, it was like everyone. I saw tons of people wearing it.
Everybody has one now. That's where you
I
really
know.
always say. That's where I'm like, man, I think a lot of people have the same appreciation as we do for that movie. As which maybe could be a little surprising, where you would think like, oh, I don't know, like people could probably judge us for it's like a dorky, kind of kid movie. But I don't know. I love it.
No, it is. It's a quality film. Um,
Winnie Peppercorn.
I know, right? Keeps oiling and oiling. Um, so yeah, I mean, I think we've covered it all, man. We've been talking here for an hour now, so I think we got it all for everybody who's stuck inside. If you needed some movie recommendations, some sports ones, here they are. I would say we've already went over the ones that you should watch. Our top 5, like we said, isn't necessarily available on streaming and everything, but if you're willing to pay $2-3 on Prime, you can watch them. I'm not saying do that. I'm just saying it is possible. Otherwise, though, you got any final words for the people or what?
Yeah. Best of luck to everyone. Hopefully everyone in these tough times staying safe. Hopefully everything's working out financially, everything. Hopefully the kids aren't driving you too crazy. We always appreciate y'all tuning in to give us a listen. Like we always say, give us your feedback. We'd love to hear about some of your favorite sport movies. Like I said, we know there's a whole bunch that are out there. We're just talking about the stuff that you can find right now. We're trying to look out for everybody. But if you want to hit us up, and if there's anything where you think maybe it's a under the radar type film, We're big time movie buffs, so we would definitely check it out, and we'll get back to you on our opinions of it. And yeah, so that's about all for me, man. I'm ready for some sports to come back and get back to real life, but I don't know. It doesn't really look like we got too much of an end game in this for a little while.
No, I think we're looking at a little bit longer, probably month to a couple months until till this whole thing is over, and then
NFL,
sports.
the NFL says they're continuing on with their regular time draft plan, so I guess we
Yeah,
will still maybe got some mock draft and other action coming up soon for y'all, football and mock draft fans, because I know how much we love it. I know y'all out there have to love
yeah.
a mock draft as well. Come on now, baby.
Oh, absolutely. So I'm also like Cody said, we want y'all to reach out to us, and we have a website, sportbrosontap.com. I just posted the top 5 wide receivers in this year's draft, so go ahead and peep that. Otherwise, after we do our mock draft show, I'll probably write something up if you guys rather read it and see it, and that way we can go more comprehensive on what's going on. Otherwise, everyone, stay safe, stay inside, wash your hands, do everything. Other than that, though, I think we're gonna get out of here, and we hope you guys have a fantastic week, and we'll see you next week.
Cheers,
Thanks.
y'all.
Cheers.
Cheers, y'all. Be healthy, be good. Later.